Are you able to bend God? Of course you can't bend God. I don't believe that you can bend God. But I think I'm witnessing people attempting to bend God to meet their desires. A person of the Jewish faith and a person of the Muslim faith are in an argument. The Jewish person and the Muslim person both will not eat pork. They will not eat pork under any circumstances. Yet they'll both tell each other to bugger off, burn in hell, I hate you, you stupid fool, you moron, you deserve to die. Is eating pork a sin? What do you think God would think? Comparing sins. I'm assuming that murder is way up there and rape is way up there, big sins. I would put, eating pork down on a lower level. But above eating pork, I would put being cruel and ruthless and mean. If you're being cruel and ruthless and mean, you could say, well, that's just the way I am. Well, if that's just the way you are that you like to eat pork, but you won't eat pork. You're not eating pork because you know God doesn't want you to. But you're being cruel. God doesn't want you to be cruel either, but you're doing it. So maybe you just don't want to eat pork. Maybe if you really wanted to eat pork, you'd eat pork because you are willing to break other rules of God's. Being cruel to people and calling them names and being vicious and brutal doesn't serve them at all. And you know it's wrong. And once you know it's wrong, it's a sin, if there are such a thing as sins. So why would you choose to break one sin and not break another? Would God say, you were cruel, you were vicious, you were unfair, you called names, you broke hearts, there were opportunities for peace and you destroyed them out of your ego. But at least you didn't eat pork. I'm so proud of you. How many people did you get to convert to your faith with this technique? How many people did you get to even listen to you with your technique? Kindness, fairness. People are always looking for a reason to discount the messenger. Once you swear, act like a child, attack somebody, they have the justification to throw away your message. So you know that they're not going to listen to your message, so everything you're saying to them only serves you. At that point, you're doing it to gratify yourself. Strikes me as a sin. And it strikes me as a sin, I think, greater than eating pork. Because if you're eating pork, it's something you're doing with yourself. You're not out there creating the opposite of world peace. The world isn't filled with psychopaths. The world is filled with basically decent people. And decent people are creating so much cruelty and so much hatred and keeping the swirl of hatred going. So do you pick and choose what you want from your God? Do you pick and choose which of God's rules you'll take and accept and which of God's rules you'll bend and you'll say, well, that's the way I am? Are we following God's rules because we know it's right, or are we following God's rules because we like the particular rules and we're picking and choosing which rules we like? If I'm watching a Christian, a Jew, and a Muslim all fighting, listening to what they'd say, and I know I would feel from what they've said about their God, if God was watching what they were doing, God would disapprove. God would disapprove at a greater degree than his disapproval for eating pork. And of course, I don't know this for sure. I'm not going to speak for God. I don't know. But doesn't it make sense? I mean, I'm thinking, what everybody's told me about God, I was raised in a Christian environment. I mean, I'm assuming that God would want us to love our brothers, our fellow humanity. And I'm assuming that God's desire for us to love each other would have to exceed his desire for us not to get intestinal worms from eating animals with cloven hoofs. And for those of you, the majority, mostly Muslims that I witness on this site, you say what you say, and I believe your sincerity. It's just a pleasure to watch the overwhelming majority of people who stand for what it is they say, and they don't buy into the games, the petty games of ego gratification. And this statement applies to everybody: Christian, Muslim, atheist, Jew, anybody who's on this site who knows how to behave like a mature communicator.